Hey everyone, welcome back. So fresh off of Callisto Protocol, I also picked up the Dead Space Remake for around $13 at the Epic Game Store if you include the coupon with the ongoing holiday sales. So I finished through the main campaign on the normal difficulty. And is it worth it? Oh, absolutely. Compared to Callisto Protocol, this is a much better experience. So if you're choosing between Callisto Protocol or the Dead Space Remake, I highly recommend just shelling out the extra money for the latter, as you will have a much better experience all around. Even if you have played the original Dead Space, the visual and performance upgrades alone are already enough for you to revisit the Ishimura. Even with my dated CPU and GPU, which is the i5-10400F and RTX 2070 respectively, the visuals are still eye candy and it performs great, as you can see in the gameplay footage that I am showing. So as an FYI, the footage you see on screen is the high settings, and I do experience a little bit of long load times, but not by much, because I'm using a hard drive instead of an SSD. And I highly recommend you do an SSD if you're able. It's just that for me, I do not have sufficient space on my SSD, as there are currently other games installed in there. Apart from shorter load times, you will experience less texture pop-ins, and more importantly, less bugs. Because late in my playthrough, I experienced a bug in one of the story cutscenes. Though it was not game-breaking, it was a shame that I could not view it despite my attempts to remedy the situation.
When you put it that way, you and your marker can go to hell. No! God damn it!
I searched up online, and apparently a lot of people were experiencing the same bug that I did. But despite me trying the solutions that they were proposing, it didn't work. So I just powered through without seeing the cutscene, which is a shame because it kind of breaks the immersion. And it was the only major bug that I encountered that fortunately did not break my run. I hope this gets addressed some point in the future, even if you're using a hard drive. But even then, this shouldn't be a deal breaker for you to buy the game given its relatively cheap price. Just giving you a heads up on my experience, and you may possibly encounter it, but hopefully not. Nevertheless, it is still a quality product, whether it is through the audio, the atmosphere, or the gameplay. The chilling ambience, the jump scares, and the terrifying screeching of the necromorphs still remain intact in this remake. For players of the original game, I do notice that because of the removal of the jankiness of the animations, it feels more like an action than a horror game. I mean, I feel less terrified compared to back in the original game, or maybe because I've also matured over the years, but I get this feeling that it's more of action than an actual horror game. But then again, if you have played multiple of these games already, I don't think anything scares you anymore, regardless what they do. But in terms of the horror aspect, I do feel that it was diminished a little bit. But that's about all the negative things I can say. Unless, of course, you're part of the very hardcore players, that there's a lot of quality of life features here that make the game significantly easier. One example is you acquire weapons instead of having to buy them in the shop. And the UI has been modernized for you to easily navigate where you need to go next. Not to mention that the map is also more robust. So if you're a hardcore player, you might perceive this as something very negative, as it makes the game easier and it decreases the horror factor of the game. But overall, I still perceive this to be a positive thing, especially introducing this to a broader audience. The turret section has been eliminated, and zero gravity has been overhauled for it to be more seamless to play. There's even an alternate ending that is not present in the original game, so you're definitely getting a lot of value for this remake. And considering it's on Game Pass, you can always try it out there if you're still skeptical. But if you're an action game fan, I strongly recommend to give this game a go, because it is clear to me that a lot of passion and resources were put behind this project, and that is all we ever want in our video games. So Dead Space Remake for $13 or less is absolutely worth it. I hope you enjoyed or found value in this video, and do consider subscribing if you did. Happy gaming, and I will see you next time.